And now, it's time for a Star Trek story. Well, speaking of network executives, it's perfect fodder for the question we're going to ask today. Aaron, what makes a good adversary?
What makes a good adversary?
Yeah, what makes a good adversary?
I've been pondering this and pondering. I think what makes a good adversary to start is relatable origin story. I think a good adversary, you can relate to his plight to a certain point, his or her. And then after that, I think the motivations at some point get twisted by some tragedy or a traumatic event. And then that's where their motivations become sinister, usually without them realizing it. But yeah, I think a good adversary is a three-dimensional character who you can sympathize with, maybe even empathize with, even though you know what they're doing is wrong on the inside. I don't know. No.
So what you're saying is Mr. Freeze from Batman
Great
is
adversary.
a good adversary.
Oh, yeah. Tragic.
Who can't relate to Mr. Freeze? I would shed tears, Batman, if not for the icy cold of my heart.
You see my point of view?
Okay. All right. A relatable backstory. That is a good answer. Well, that'll bring us into today's episode 15 of Star Trek Stories, The Last Outpost. We are still early in our look at the growing pains of the next generation. The last time we watched the TNG premiere, Encounter at Farpoint. After listening to our conversation, Aaron, I was expecting us to be really negative on that episode.
Me too.
But when I listened to it, I'm like, we really aren't all that negative. I mean, certainly we point out problems and criticisms with the episode because it certainly has them, but it's almost more like we treated it like an oddity that was trying to do something interesting and novel, though.
It really was almost there. I think it was a strong pilot. I really do.
Yeah. We'll see if how we feel about today's episode. But before we get to that, we have a new guest host and friend we have to introduce. Aaron, I'm going to let you do the honors on this one.
Oh, I appreciate you. This week, we have my wife, Cass. Cass, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing just fine, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't like microphones, so here I am.
I got you here, and you're sitting down and you're talking, so I'm going to take this as a huge W.
No, it's good. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you for a while. I'm like, Aaron, you got to bring Cass over.
Oh, yeah.
She loves Star Trek.
I appreciate that.
Cass and I have watched a lot of Star Trek together. We watched DS9 together last year.
Last year.
Was it 2 years ago?
We weren't even married yet, so it's been
we were
more
married.
than 3 years. We started it before we were married.
We did not.
Yes, we did.
There's no way.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Maybe.
I said this the other day. The pandemic has ruined all sense of
time. Just
especially
gone.
the nearish past is just this jumble of I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometime between 2019 and now,
Yep.
this happened.
Either way, we watched it together, and it was a good bonding experience, I think.
Oh,
for
yeah.
us.
We bond over the nerdy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We also
just a little bit.
Lord of the Rings a lot, too, both of us.
Oh, yeah. We have to do the trilogy, every
Once
couple
a year?
years. I don't think we did it last year.
Not at all?
No. No, we're due.
We're talking a little bit about Star Trek before we started. You said Voyager was your first one?
Voyager was the first one I watched all the way through, yes. But I grew up with Star Trek kind of around me. Actually, my very first memories of Star Trek ever were the Christmas ornaments from Hallmark. They started in 1991, I want to say. And my dad started collecting them in 1992. So we have all of them. And a huge tradition for me and him was to put all of them on the Christmas tree. So I grew up around those. I think the 1992 ornament was the shuttlecraft with Spock saying, "Happy holidays, live long and prosper." And that's always been my favorite one. And it was the first one that we ever had. And now we have...
So many.
How many?
A full tree.
31.
Yeah.
And our tree topper is the Enterprise. And it's amazing. And now all the ornaments talk to each other. And there's characters, and it's a whole like production on our Christmas tree.
Wow, like a multimedia display.
It's a fleet of ships.
Star Trek through the years.
We have to continuously get bigger Christmas trees to accommodate all of the ornaments.
But your dad's like was the Trekkie in the house.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he married a Trekkie after he and my mom split. His second wife, my stepmom, is a huge nerd too, and she came with a dog whose name was Dax. After Jadzia, and then after that we had 7, and then their current dog is Q.
All righties. And then I started getting dogs, and my first dog was Kobayashi Maru, and we call her Koba. And then we got Dabo a couple years ago. So continuing on with the Star Trek Who lives
dog.
up to his name? The correct way to pronounce his name is Dabo!
And it's spelled with an exclamation point, so that is the correct pronunciation of his name.
Yeah, we had Kelsey on the podcast a little bit ago talking about Star Wars. You two are good friends. You do flight attending together, yes?
Yes, we do. Kelsey was actually a new hire flight attendant about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I was her mentor. And the first day I met her, she had a meltdown, which was a bonding experience for us. We trauma bonded a little bit. And here we are, like a year and a half later, and we're very good friends. She's a good person to have around, hysterical. It makes me laugh every time I see her, so... Yeah, I like having her in my circle of friends.
She was a riot. She was perfect for Star Wars. What's it like? I never thought about like this, but I've done a lot of training in my own field, and then I just never thought about what training would be like for flight attendants. What is it like to kind of I don't know. You don't do exactly training, or do you do training?
I don't. I am in onboarding. So by the time they come to me, they've already been vetted and trained in theory. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of help them get settled once they get to their base and the actual day-to-day of the job.
How long have you been doing that?
That specific job, about a year and a half. But I'm coming up on 8 years as a flight attendant.
Wow. Have you had any big oh my God moments with... the big blow up all over social media. This person was doing this. And so there's painting this picture that flying right now is basically this dystopian nightmare. I'm do you see that on a day-to-day basis, or how often do you see something like that?
It's not as common as social media would have you think. And I work for Delta, so I do not work for Spirit, which is kind of where things like that tend to happen.
Half of those stories. Oh, got it.
Spirit,
it's one airline.
I don't know,
Spirit,
Southwest,
United,
American.
Frontier.
not generally on Delta. So I personally haven't had any experiences like that, which is very fortunate, because I don't want to have a smackdown with anybody, because we have 2 feet of space to move, which is not great for having to defend yourself.
No.
No.
Then I can't help but wonder if in being a flight attendant having to deal with, disgruntled patrons, in your opinion, what makes a good adversary?
I was actually listening to Aaron's answer before, and I'm kind of on the opposite side, where a good adversary to me is someone who is a challenge, who maybe thinks or approaches things in a way that makes you think differently. Like how you would approach a problem. You'd have to think about it in a completely different way, because you don't understand their way of thinking or of being. And it kind of challenges a character, a person, to grow in their character and morally. And I feel like that makes for an interesting story between the two.
Yeah, I like both of those answers. I almost feel like the most ideal answer is like a mixture of the two, where it's like, yeah, it is like this kind of like challenge, especially if it's a good thematic, at the risk of going back into Batman. But Batman has such good villains. That's why everyone loves Batman. It's like, and Joker, say, just such a good foil because he just represents such a thematic, just everything this character stands for. It just is the complete opposite. But then you do get like, the characters who really shine, it's like do that, but also can be people and not just like a monolith. You know. I like both those answers.
Batman faces both. I think you get the Mr. Freezes and the Jokers.
That's true.
Yep.
The ones that are just evil through and through, and the ones where it's like, oh man, Spider-Man. I feel like all of his rogues are you can sympathize with.
Yeah,
they'll have these tragic origin stories like Doc Ock and Rhino, and
half of them feel like this is only genuinely like Spider-Man villains. I'm like, have you guys noticed that half of the Spider-Man villains feel like some poor person who just got trapped in a suit somehow?
Really?
Venom, Doc Ock, Vulture,
Harry Osborn.
Oh no, Scorpion. They're all just people who are like, I'm in a suit now.
I can't get out. What a tragic accident.
Man, I'm never gonna watch another Spider-Man the same way.
No. What suit are you getting trapped in today?
They usually know Peter in some way too, like have a personal relationship with him, so he has to deal with that.
That's always so funny to me. It's like it's some person in some close orbit of Peter Parker, and then for how long do they go? It's like, oh yeah, there's all this crazy stuff. Good thing we're best friends. And then like 3/4 of the way through, wait, you've been Spider-Man / Green Goblin all along. Every Spider-Man movie.
It sounds like Spider-Man needs to be locked in like solitary or something so that he can't create any more villains.
Meanwhile, Peter Parker, it's me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me.
Can we like redub that over the Spider-Man 3 emo dance, but put it with that Taylor Swift song?
Well, shall we look at how Star Trek The Next Generation does with introducing its first recurring adversary?
I don't know, I'm kind of nervous.
Yes, we are watching The Last Outpost. This aired October 19th, 1987. This is the 7th episode produced for the first season, even though it ended up being aired 4th. This is the first appearance of the Ferengi in Star Trek. Gene Roddenberry and company, like, they quickly knew that, like, the new series would need a new recurring adversary. Like, they couldn't just bank on, like, it can't just be the Klingons and the Romulans again. Like, you got to do something new. So, and especially since now in this show, the Klingons aren't really, like, the bad guys anymore. So it's like, certainly for them, we need a replacement. And this is what they came up with, the Ferengi. So the big question will be how well they do introducing and conceptualizing the Ferengi and how they compare to other adversaries. For those of you at home who are watching along, this is your invitation to watch. Star Trek The Next Generation is streaming on Paramount+. You can find it by bringing up Season 1, Episode 5, and we will be back after we have our first look at the Ferengi.
As your ships battled each other in overt acts of belligerence. Normally I would have destroyed all of you and your ships. But something confused me.
Which was?
First, you wanted to destroy each other. Then you were willing to assist each other.
What of our vessel? We knew the same answer. The truth is, I gave those words to this human.
What of them? Shall I destroy them?
Then they would learn nothing.
A most interesting conclusion. But what if they never learn, Riker?
Is this a test also?
In life, one is always tested.
I see them much as we were several hundred years ago. But possessing the technology they now have, they're very dangerous.
Untrue. We seek friendship with you.
But we can hardly hate what we once were. They may grow and learn.
And learn ways to destroy you.
Well, our values require us to face that possibility.
Now, speaking of great anniversary dates, Star Trek stories.
Let's jump on in.
And this episode we just watched, The Last Outpost. Initial thoughts? Cass? What are we thinking about The Last Outpost?
I personally love the Ferengi, but this was not my first exposure to them. I was first exposed to them in DS9, and in that series, they are super goofy, and they're kind of the comic relief. So it's kind of hard to see them as anything else. I can kind of see how they were trying to set them up as an adversary, but just their stature and the way that they move and the way that they talk, it's really hard to take them seriously about anything. And then knowing them from DS9 is just like, haha, that's cute. You're adorable.
Yeah, especially if you have seen them in the future. Because this episode is trying to take them really serious. Mm-hmm. And, even if you didn't know that,
right?
How can you take these guys any kind of seriously? They're trying.
Really trying. Yeah, so hard fail on setting them up as like a big bad.
Yeah.
Not even close. You didn't feel threatened or frightened by them at all. It was just like, what are...
Like
no.
the Klingons and the Romulans are kind of like, their presence is like scary. It's like they have a very big presence, and you can see them as an adversary. And then in comes the little Ferengi, and they're small in stature, and they've got these big goofy ears, and It's like, aw, sweetie.
These are like the level 1 band of trolls that you find in your D&D campaign, like
yeah,
outside of the village.
Right. The little, trolls living in a cave nearby and who are just kind of robbing the village at night. That's who these guys feel like.
Yeah, I wrote it down as not the move to set the capitalist race up as the big bad in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was all about coke and money and
I think the idea of what the Ferengi are, what they were trying to go for, I'm like, I could see why you would go this way. But I think the whole idea of the Ferengi came from it was Gene Roddenberry and it was co-producer writer Herbert J. Wright. They kind of fleshed him out to begin with, and Herbert Wright was like, okay. So we had the Klingons back in the old show, and if you watch the old '60s show, the Klingons are definitely different, and they're much more of a stand-in for if not the Soviet Union, just kind of Eurasian communism, kind of a fascism kind of a thing. And so he was if we did the Soviets, so now let's do the other big, belligerent in the Cold War, which is the United States. Let's do a race that's kind of inspired off of let's make this hyper capitalistic society, and we'll make that the bad guy. I'm like, especially in 1980s landscape, I feel like that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. And just have this villain and race that's here's everything wrong with capitalism, and that's the bad guy. And then what they end up doing are these weird little grubby money trolls. And it's the most like, how are you supposed to take any of that seriously? It's like, this isn't really what the horrors of capitalism looks like. This is just, like you say, D&D level 1 monsters.
Right.
That's how they decided to envision them, though.
Swing and a miss, good buddy.
Oh, man. So I like the idea, but like, you're right. And I think a lot of people said when it came out, this is a disaster of like a rollout.
Oh no!
Swing and a miss. But so is there? They eventually kind of repurpose them down, into something else. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that works about them in this episode? Or are they just is there nothing redeeming or interesting about them?
I mean, I appreciate they kind of took it to the next little level with their aesthetic. Rather than just 4 head ridges, they really did it like a whole different shape to their skull and facial structure and stuff. That's cool. The ideas with their ship and the technology that they had, that they matched the Enterprise but in different ways, that is a really good concept. That they could have taken a lot further. The
electromagnetism like weapon they used at the beginning or whatever. It's like, okay,
the fact that they hacked into the Enterprise systems, they got all their data. They probably could have like turned the ship off if they really wanted to. Or was that Portal that hacked?
I think that most of it was Portal. Okay. There was like the tiny little seconds of conflict between the beginning.
They thought it was the Ferengi,
but they thought it was the Ferengi.
I see.
That's also a weird decision. It's like, we're going to set up the new big bad, except that they create this scenario where both of them get trapped by this bigger bad.
Right.
So it almost undercuts them. It's like the Ferengi don't really end up being much of anything in this. It's like Portal on the planet. That's everything.
Yeah, honestly, like going into this, I didn't really see the Ferengi as like the adversary of the episode. They were just kind of there. Mm-hmm. And the conflict was with Portal. Mm-hmm. And the Ferengi just were another obstacle in the way that were kind of also against this Portal entity. And it wasn't like the Ferengi against the Enterprise. Mm-hmm. So it didn't even, like the first time I watched this episode ever, it didn't really even cross my mind that they were even an adversary. So...
Yeah, okay, these are the bad guys. They just feel like they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard to keep in mind. Like, these are supposed to be the Klingons. These are supposed to be the Romulans of Next Generation, right? They're supposed to be like, oh, we're going to take them on the rest of the series. No, not even close.
Yeah, and that's what they kind of hyped it up at the beginning. Like, okay, here come the new bad guys. And it's like, and for a second, you get this kind of drawn out. It's like, wow, they've turned off our weapons. They've done this. It's like, who are these guys? They try to build them up as this huge threat, and then, man, it's amazing how much it falls apart, though. First off, as soon as you see them, I think on the view screen, you're like even though the makeup is much more ambitious, it's instantly also just like
they're blocking their body language, like the characterizations, and them like moving around like chimps almost. What are those? Says Riker.
I think they got directed to jump up and down like crazed gerbils. So some of this is the director's fault. Why would you have them do that?
Right. Moving as like a trifecta at all times. One's always like bobbing in the background. What are you trying to get a better view of?
Jumping up on a rock, looking down, then coming back down, then now looking. While people are just having conversations, they're just around them.
Goodness.
We talked about in the last episode, it's like there's definitely an attempt to get away from the 60s show. You can see it. Mm-hmm. But you watch this, you're like, this one especially, this one has some of that 1960s TOS camp kitsch all over it, like the planet set they're on. It's fun and atmospheric, but it's like it's clearly a set. how the Ferengi, it's like, you can tell it's like, hey, here's how it's very theatrical. You can tell it's like these 3 stage actors who are trying to block it out. It's like, yes, yeah.
You kind of miss Shatner's reaction to it all. Like, he did a good job of being ridiculous, but also recognizing the ridiculousness of the situation. Like, Mr. Spock, what is going on?
My God. Yeah, just totally buying into it, over the top. Yeah, this episode certainly has a lot of that 60s camp kitsch, but it feels like you guys should know better by now.
As writers, as storytellers, you should know better.
Something I found intriguing with the Ferengi was kind of the glimpse into their culture, which they don't really go into, but like if you're listening, you can catch some of it. Like how I think they mentioned a couple times, you force your women to wear clothing, and with no other knowledge of the Ferengi, that is kind of an odd comment and kind of makes me want to know more about them. 'Cause I'm like, what does that mean? Force your women to wear clothing? And they're just totally weirded out by like having a female with the landing crew and having her armed and having her clothed. So I found that kind of interesting for those who don't really know much else about the Ferengi. I feel like that could be kind of intriguing. It makes me want to know more about the characters, even though they're a little goofy.
It's a very specific thing to bring up. Mm-hmm. And it is interesting. It's like they're hyper capitalist, but then they go out of their way on several occasions to talk about it's this very misogynist perspective as well, and they tie that hand in hand with capitalism. So it's not just capitalism, it's also this kind of like male heavy like patriarchy capitalism thing they're kind of referencing.
Yeah. You heard it, Captain. They're insane.
They
think of all the opportunities for profit they've thrown away.
Forcing their females to wear clothing, inviting others to take them off, the very depth of perversion.
I feel like there's a way you could play some of that off and have it be like horrifying and like, oh my God, this is terrifying. Like these hyper capitalists who just live in this like this do-bro society where it's just about making as much money as you can and then like, I don't know, enslaving women. That's their civilization. It's like you could make that really like, oh my God. Yeah, fuck these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Less like merchants, more like pirates, maybe. Like the buyer beware, but taken to more of the extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it's none of it sticks. You're like, okay, capitalism, but like you're monsters. Like nothing of like they spend like a good chunk of the episode talking about like, yeah, they're supposed to be like Yankee traders and they're supposed to be like this and but that doesn't line up at all with what you see these guys, like these little monsters with laser whips hissing. And
this episode could have probably done with maybe coming out a few years later, because Black Monday, I think, had yet to happen. One of the worst stock market crashes since the Great Depression. I think that was 89. So I think they maybe would have had a much different perspective on capitalism and had something to say about it had they waited. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not very thematically resonant. That also feels like a big failure. It's like if you had said this episode is about like the dangers of capitalism, like, are you high? That's not what this episode was about at all in the slightest.
No, it's about Chinese finger traps.
Somehow we tie that back. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, whatever Data's finger trap is made out of, that's what I want.
And it's funny that we see him get stuck in that and then see him holding up a Ferengi with one hand and telling Riker that they're stronger than they appear.
I'm trapped, sir.
But you got trapped by a Chinese finger trap. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost baffling. It's not almost. It is baffling that those Chinese finger traps are in the episode, and like they don't just use them once. That's how they end. That's the note they end the episode on. Everyone, for some reason, now has the finger traps. Riker's got them. Geordi's got it and like doesn't know how to do it, even though he was just laughing at Data for not. It makes this is the note you go out on, huh?
We might be the last generation who even knows what a Chinese finger trap is. I don't know if Gen Z knows what a Chinese finger trap is.
That might not even be PC anymore, bro.
Chinese finger
It
trap.
probably isn't.
I don't think that's PC, bro.
I think it's East Asian.
We're gonna get canceled.
Finger trap. East Asian inspired finger trap.
Okay.
Yeah, even if the Ferengi weren't so silly, the fact that they put stuff in there just contributes to the silliness. When it's like they're trying really hard to take it seriously, and it's like these guys are a real threat, and they're having meetings about how do we handle the situation, while Data's got a finger trap. Like, so even if the Ferengi were good, it's like, why are you putting this in there?
Conflict evaluation. Data's just got the finger trap. We're assessing our battle capabilities, Mr. Data. I'm trapped, sir. All nonchalant. He's at a 2. Everybody else is at like 7 or 8.
Could you imagine like watching like Balance of Terror? And there's a couple of scenes, you know, like, okay, the Romulans, it's the first time we've ever encountered them, and it's super intense, and there's racism against Spock on the bridge, but while they're having a briefing, just Scotty's got his fingers in it. Scotty, what the hell do you have that? It's a Chinese finger trap. I don't know how to get my finger out.
By the end of the episode, the Romulans have one on their ship.
Let's beam them all over. Everyone has a little good chuckle at the end, like, oh my God. It instantly destroys the episode.
I think perhaps, Captain, we could have been friends. I can't get my... This is so fascinating. How do you get your fingers out of this?
In another universe, I could have called you... I could have called you... How do you get these? Oh, it's such a baffling decision. Like, again, even if the Ferengi were 100% worked, the fact that they're throwing shit like that in there just destroys any tension the episode is supposed to have.
Like, who made that decision?
And also the Ferengi ship. Like, who decided that was the front? That was always baffling to me. Even as a kid, I had those little mini of the Ferengi ship, and I thought the back was the front. It looks like it should travel with the fat end going forwards and the tiny end going.
It's got a big ass.
It does. It's got a big old booty.
You know, fun fact about the Ferengi ship, and I guess just the Ferengi in general. So that first off, the Ferengi ship, the neck was supposed to like elongate. And so you're supposed to see like the ship kind of grow when it wanted to go into battle mode or whatever. You don't ever really kind of see that. I think you kind of maybe see it for a second, but it was part of this thematic thing where Gene Roddenberry, he really wanted to go along with like with the misogynist angle. He wanted to really show that the Ferengi had voracious sexual appetites.
Okay.
And he wanted the Ferengi to have giant cod pieces as part of their costume, like giant cod pieces.
So the ship is a giant.
And so then the ship itself, it was supposed to erect, like this kind of phallic when it goes into its battle mode. Nice. He just really wanted to play up this idea of like they were obsessed with sexual prowess.
Imagine being in that pitch room. Like listening to him talk about the Ferengi.
Well, like, yeah, so there's a story. So like Herb Wright and Gene Roddenberry, the two guys who were working on it, like Herb Wright really developed all the capitalist stuff, and it was really Gene who wanted to do all like the sexual stuff. That's what he liked. Very Gene Roddenberry.
That's what you're bringing to the table, Gene.
And I guess there's a story where like Herb Wright describes Gene Roddenberry, like when he was talking about the cod pieces, he went on like for 20 minutes went on this rant about all the different sexual positions the Ferengi could get into, and eventually Herb was like, Gene, it's a family show on 7 p.m. on Saturday. Oh yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Right.
Could you imagine?
What a trip.
Right. It was just supposed to be this hypersexualized thing as well. Can you imagine the Ferengi just walk around with these just big old bulges the entire time?
I don't know if that would have helped the us taking them seriously.
No, certainly not.
Gene Roddenberry, the guy who created Star Trek, certainly has some interesting ideas about Star
And somehow it's all tied back to the art of war.
It's all Sun Tzu. Like, it's all going to tie in, and it'll be so smart.
I can see it. And it's real.
And, one of the things I noticed about watching this episode, I guess getting away from the Ferengi a little bit, is also at the end when, like, portals... Once again, in the last episode, they had to prove humanity to some higher being. That... We definitely get a much toned down version of it, but it happens again in this episode. And what saves them is, like, Riker quoting like enlightened Sun Tzu philosophy of sometimes it's about knowing when not to fight rather than when to fight. And Gene Roddenberry, how they posit the crew in these early episodes, they are all like paragons of virtue. Mm-hmm. They're like flawless, don't have a lot of character, but it's like they're just like, he's just showing like humanity is basically, he's using them to say like, here's everything that's virtuous and good, and like, then the Ferengi are supposed to represent what's bad. And it's such an interesting, weird, rather than any kind of philosophical conflict coming from in between the main characters, it's just all of them standing united as like, we are so awesome. and it's the other aliens that are like, here's what's wrong about everything. And it's such a fascinatingly weird, he's just using humans as just perfect mouthpiece for what's awesome and amazing. And such a strange way to talk about ideas. It takes them a while to get away from this, but like, there's no conflict really between the characters. Mm-hmm. It's them always just talking about what to do, but there's no real tension between any of them.
Yeah.
Even between in the old show, like Kirk and Spock would kind of be like, there would be a little bit of, or with Scotty or McCoy, there was always like some amount of tension between them. There's no tension here between any of them.
What is all the tension that Deanna's feeling then?
That's
just not on the bridge, it's everywhere else.
Even nothing between. That's like the easiest one, Riker and Deanna tension.
Right.
No?
Nothing. Also, can we comment on her outfit?
The gray jumpsuit.
So in the last episode, we saw her in like her scant. She kind of had a space cheerleader look.
Yeah.
In that first episode. Now she's got this off plum.
I call it tactical Deanna. She looks like battle mode Deanna Troy.
There's still no pockets.
No,
The
yeah,
makeup
still
is
no
different.
pockets. It's still a onesie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of got like a lavender belt sash.
Yeah.
And then her hair just all done up in that like cone. Mm-hmm. What a look. What a look. Why can't they just put her in a uniform? They just got to come up with the whatever the hell this is out for her.
It has to show off her figure. That's what it is. It's yeah, so gross. But she's the eye candy of the show.
She really is.
Yeah.
But not even that good. It's like,
yeah, honestly.
like if you're gonna do it, I mean, it's a dumb idea, but like, that's what you go with. Like, has anyone turned on looking at her? She looks ridiculous. Fascinating. Mm-hmm. Was this hot in the 80s?
I guess.
I submit not. Even back then, this was not hot. Well, I always like the. It's too bad we only get a little bit of it, but the Takan Empire seems a whole lot more interesting than the Ferengi do in this episode. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there was this ancient civilization that could move around stars, and some members don't know the Empire's gone. I'm like, yeah, that's way more interesting.
Way cool. And then he goes back into his Odin sleep, and do we ever see him again? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. But no, the Ferengi, that's...
You've been asleep for 100,000 years. No!
That can't be. Oh my God, that shot where he's like doing like the... It just comes right up to Riker's face with like the axe or whatever. And Riker's just sitting there just like, I'm so cool.
You could almost see like the Mass Effect triggers for the Renegade option for Riker to attack. And then he chooses to stay still.
Quick time event. Mm-hmm. Do you hit the good one or the bad one?
Oh, this could decide.
Stun him or...
Totally different ending happens if you choose to attack. That's crazy.
I like the idea of them like that, but again, they don't do anything with them either. It's just kind of a means to an end. Mm-hmm. Very TOS-y again, some ancient society that finds these two. You are barbaric. We will destroy you. You show potential, humanity. Perhaps in 1,000 years we can become friends.
Until then.
Kind of a but until then, kind of a thing. I also noted back in the early days, they really designed the show to be, there's like 2 leads. And if you look at the credits, it says starring Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Frakes, and everyone else is co-starring. And there is, especially in these early episodes, there is this kind of dual lead thing where it's like the first half of this episode, like they're up on the ship and Picard is definitely like the lead of the show. Mm-hmm. But then Riker's always the one who goes down on the away missions, and then he becomes like now the main lead and focus of the episode. The whole back half is like Riker and how he's going to deal with Portal on the planet, and the whole first half is Picard dealing with like the Ferengi. It's kind of an interesting structure how they split it between the two. Riker always gets the on the planet stuff, and Picard always gets the on the ship stuff.
Which, like, yeah, from like I guess if you are going to send somebody from the bridge down, it makes more sense. Send the XO down than the captain every time.
Yeah. I think there's one episode later where Picard goes down, and at the end of the episode, he tells Riker that he can keep those away missions because something happens, and he decides he doesn't want to do them anymore, which is understandable because Riker gets to deal with all of this stuff down on the planet.
Yeah. That reminded me, they're really trying to set up Data and Riker as like buds.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I don't know what you call it, like a little bit of like bromance, flirty energy between Riker and Data in these early episodes. Mm-hmm. It definitely feels like they're all still trying to find their characters. Yeah. You know, mm-hmm. They all feel pretty stock at this point. Like again, like Geordi's big contribution at the end was like, Commander, I can see this, and I can see this. It's just the fact that he's got the visor or whatever, you know, and all of Worf's lines are like, I want to do the fighting.
No, stand down, Mr. Worf.
Uncle who?
Uncle who?
Do you know who's still kind of pretty thinly drawn as Yar? Both episodes, I feel like they have not done much with her.
Mm-mm. Not at this point.
She did seem more put together this episode.
Oh, yeah, she's the one who comes and saves all of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fully clothed and everything.
Fully clothed.
How perverse.
Actually brought a phaser. So you guys didn't no one else bring a phaser?
Honestly.
Crusher doesn't get a lot to do either in this one.
No, didn't. She's seen her in the back room once or twice. Didn't really make it into the episode.
No.
That happens. Characters will just take a break some episodes.
Troy mostly just comments on things.
It's gotten so cold, Captain. Really? Like he couldn't feel that it was also cold. Thanks, Deanna.
What do you make of the Ferengi? I can't be sure, Captain, but I think they're hiding something. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks for that. Just pat her on the head like a puppy.
Data almost comes across like an idiot, almost like the class clown. Like he's making little whisper comments to Geordi, like throughout that whole scene where Picard's trying to negotiate with the Ferengi. Mm-hmm. Data's kind of like, well, at least this and this and this. Like he's having his little whisper jokes with Geordi in the background. Right. Brings the Chinese finger puzzle to the meeting. It's like, Data, get it together. When like Riker is like fighting the Ferengi and goes down, like Data just has that like look of disapproval.
While he's holding in Ferengi in the air, who's struggling in the background, he's like, "Oh, Riker, you pansy. I got this."
He's like the comic relief character. You're like the class clown.
Yeah.
It's such a strange character conception.
Yeah. Lots of room for character development for sure.
The only one who kind of really has any feel like definition is like Picard. Still feels by far and away the strongest part of the show.
Yeah.
A lot of that is just his work too.
He commits. Mm-hmm. He fucking commits to the bit. for how silly the episode is. Like any kind of sense of like actually grounding it and being serious. It's all him.
Yeah.
I guess there was a lot of pressure in the early days because like they had a lot to live up to. And I think they all said like the shadow of the original show at this point, they cast a long shadow and everyone could feel it. Like we've got to be as good as them, you know, absolutely. And such a legendary show. And they're like, oh, come on. And he especially, I'm like, no, it can't be a silly show. Damn it.
This is my shot.
You're ruining it for everyone. Well, do we have any final thoughts on the last Outpost? Any parting words of wisdom? Do the Ferengi make a good adversary?
Eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Not in this episode, for sure.
No. If an alien ever tests your resolve, don't flinch. That's the answer.
You got to have like your mid-grade villains, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it can't be the Joker every time.
Right.
You know, it's every once in a while you got to get Penny Plunderer in there.
Sometimes it's the Music Meister.
Music Meister, Kite Man. Cass, any final thoughts?
Well, we learned that they show hypoxia correctly in the Enterprise.
We did learn
Y'all
that.
were just like, oh yeah, everybody's just kind of like sleeping, waiting for things to happen. I'm like, no, that's actually how it happens when you don't have enough oxygen.
Yeah, we learned that there's this moment everybody on the ship is kind of lethargic and leaning on their consoles, and flight attendant Cass enlightened us. That was awesome.
Yes, this is what happens on airplanes when there's a slow decompression. It's a sign of hypoxia to be lethargic and sleepy, and if you have people like that on an airplane, you're probably losing oxygen somewhere. So there you go. Fun fact.
There you go.
Even if you recognize that in the moment, you'd probably be too lazy to do anything about it.
Yeah, you're also losing oxygen, so you might not notice.
Like, oh man, that sucks.
I think I have hypoxia.
Oh, no, I'm just gonna go sleep now.
Oh, that's a bad way to go.
And that's why you have flight attendants to save you from the hypoxia.
Thank God. And thank God we learned something on this episode today. I wasn't sure, like, what did we learn today? Star Trek stories.
I'm full of useless knowledge.
We learned about hypoxia. Thanks, The Last Outpost.
Oh, man.
Star Trek's always got something to teach you. Even if it's something, you know.
We also learned how to get your fingers out of a Chinese finger trap.
We did learn that, too.
In case you didn't already know how to do that.
Yeah, I knew how to do that as a kid because of this episode. Thanks, Star Trek. Everything I needed to know in life I learned from Star Trek. Finger traps, hypoxia. Well, all right. Well, thanks all. This was a lovely evening. Cass, thanks for coming aboard.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And hanging out with us on the USS Jaron's living room. We'll definitely have to have you back and watch a more substantial episode.
I'd love to.
Oh, the blurb. Are we going to do that? Oh, we just.
Oh,
we,
yes.
We
yes.
did a thing.
Aaron, yes, please.
All right. So for all of you listening out there, I started an email. It's storiedstartrek@gmail.com. Storiedstartrek@gmail.com. If you have a Star Trek story that you would like us to read on the show, please feel free to submit it. And there's a good chance that we'll read it for you because, we're just dying for content and feedback from our listeners. So, give us a shout, send an email our way. Even if it's just feedback about the show or whatever, we'd love to hear it. So,
StoriedStarTrek@gmail.com.
Yeah, buddy.
Hell yeah. Well, next time our journey into the growing pains of the next generation continues. We are going to be watching the episode Where No One Has Gone Before. In our previous look at classic Trek, we did watch the episode Where No Man Has Gone Before. And now we're going to be watching Where No One Has Gone Before. So we're going to be able to see how both these incarnations of the show do an episode using essentially the motto of the franchise as the episode title. That'd be fun.
Cool.
Little compare and contrast. Who did the motto better? TOS or TNG?
TNG's a bit more inclusive.
It's just an instant. Probably TNG. Yeah. Who did it better? TNG.
TNG.
So that'll be fun to see. Also, our good friend Scott Tuckfield is going to be coming back for an episode and talking about it with us. So, awesome. Well, until then, I guess we'll see you all out there. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to share your own Star Trek story or give us a hot take on the episode we just watched, you can join the conversation by visiting our Discord server. You can find us by clicking on the link in the show description.